A report that I think is highly relevant right now as we approach the federal elections campaign. And it's highly relevant because of the number of people who were responsible for the green energy catastrophe that unfolded in Ontario. A lot of those people, namely Gerald Butts, are now working for the federal Liberal Party, the government, or the campaign. And they really do want to replicate what they did in Ontario in the rest of the country. The report is called The Ontario Government Climate Legacy.
Yes, and this is another report by Robert Lyman, and he's looking at the energy transition that took place there. And if you look back at Elizabeth May's history, she was the executive director of the Sierra Club from its foundation in Canada in 1989 to about 2006. And the Sierra Club was funded by the Oak Foundation, which is a tar sands campaign funder out of a foreign funder, to I think it was for about $217,000 US, to coordinate the NGOs at the time and to get them to make sure that greenhouse gases were legally were legislated as a pollutant, so that these groups were working with foreign funding to make problems for Canada down the road. Now, that was not our policy at the time. And even if you look right now at the air pollutant list in Canada, you won't find CO2 on that list. But anyway, so she was part of that campaign. She was the executive director of the Sierra Club in 2005 when they gave Alberta an F, and they gave Ontario a B+ for the Rio report, which is based on the Rio declaration of, the big Rio confab in 1992, where the whole global warming movement began, shall we say. So she gave Alberta an F, despite the fact that Alberta was in fact a leader in everything related to climate and environment at the time. So in the process of the Ontario Green Energy Act being implemented, you find all the same parties that are implicated in the tar sands campaign implicated in the Green Energy Act. And what was the outcome of that? Well, I just want to read some of the figures from Robert Lyman's report just to give people a sense of what happened. $9 billion for poor contracting practices, $133 billion in global adjustment fees from 2015 to 2032, and at least 20% of that is related to the renewable sector. $3.6 billion to build a smart grid and smart meters, and up to $55 billion in deferred costs that will hit future ratepayers. And here's the kicker. Elizabeth May says that no one will be left behind in her plan to go green. Well, 75,000 lost industrial jobs in Ontario. And as Robert says, that's quite the tally for zero global environmental benefit. So when people are saying, oh, our plan won't leave anyone behind, well, we've already left behind 75,000 workers in Ontario and complete economic devastation. So don't believe her. Ask her questions. I think the thing that really bothers me is that I see the media letting her loop of her bloviating about how she won't leave anyone behind, going on and on. Who's asking her these hard questions? No one, not that I can see.
That's an excerpt from my weekly show, The Gun Show. It airs every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Each week, I bring you an informal interview with an interesting newsmaker or citizen activist you might not have heard of, but who is making a big difference in Canadian politics. And we'll talk about issues in a way you'll never see done in the mainstream media. To subscribe, go to therebel.media/shows.